Alright folks, Half-Life Alyx. This was announced a couple days ago, and a new trailer was confirmed for today, and when I first heard about this project, I was happy to hear that Half-Life was returning in some form, but apprehensive about how a VR outing for the series would look like and how it would play. And now we have the very first announcement trailer. I'm going to take a look at it, react, and then I'm going to look at some information in interviews and the press release and give you guys my overall take on this game. So let's go ahead and dive right into the trailer. Wow, the graphics are impressive, especially for a VR game. Oh, that's cool. Ooh.
Alyx! I'm here. So what's the plan?
I'm already seeing
What we're doing here could change things forever.
seeing a lot of interactivity with objects.
No straight shot to the vault. I'm gonna head inside, find a way out. Got it.
I'm with you every step of the way.
You're gonna need a gun! Don't worry, it's unloaded.
Oh, the updated Source engine looks
Unloaded now!
awesome.
Combine cheddar's really picking up. They know you're coming. You need to get out of here, now.
Look at the physics. Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh god.
They've got Dad.
They're gonna find out what he knows, and then they're gonna kill him.
All this is my fault. I never told you. I couldn't. I'm so sorry, baby.
You will not save him. Alyx Vance alone cannot prevent his fate.
Close your eyes, honey.
Whoa. Okay. Oh, snap. Man, look at the detail in his face. Oh my god. It's been too long. Half-Life is back. And yes, it's VR and not everyone has a VR device. And I understand that some people would have preferred a PC outing, but for a VR game, I mean, this is some of the best looking, if not the best looking VR game I've ever seen. This looks legit. This doesn't look like a cash grab, half-assed tech demo. This looks like a fully fleshed out game with some really impressive visuals. And I love the way the gloves work right here. You can see how you can, like, I guess press a button and grab stuff from a distance like that. That's cool. So that means you're not going to have to reach out for everything and, like, crouch and grab things on the floor. You could probably just, like, look at it and then magnetically attract the object you want or the weapon you want. And so that's going to be really convenient. It feels like they've really thought things out with this game. It really does look like Half-Life in modern day, visually. And I'm just super excited to dive back into this world that's been hibernating for far too long. So first impressions, I'm already kind of blown away, actually. This is a lot better than I expected. So let's go to Valve's Twitter account, where they tweeted a couple things that further detail what this game's all about. So it reads right here, "We're thrilled to announce Half-Life Alyx, a new full-length entry in the Half-Life series built by Valve for VR. Return to Half-Life in March 2020. That's really not that far off. Pre-purchase now on Steam." And then for story details, Valve divulged this. Set between the events of Half-Life and Half-Life 2, Alyx Vance and her father Eli discover a secret that leads them into the heart of the Combine's occupation of City 17, as Alyx give humanity its last chance of survival. So there's the answer for when this takes place. I knew it wasn't going to take place after Half-Life 2 Episode 2. I figured it'd be some kind of prequel. And yeah, it takes place between Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2. That's a good setting, I think. And we're going to discover just more about this character. And I'm quite the fan of Alyx Vance, so I am excited to fill her shoes and see what the story uncovers about her. And also just the world at large. Just that setting in between. I think there's so much you can tell story-wise. And then this reads, VR was built for the kind of gameplay that sits at the heart of Half-Life, and Half-Life Alyx was built from the ground up for VR. You'll be able to play it on any Steam VR-compatible system. So it's not just the Valve Index, which is the highest-end VR device you can find right now, essentially. It's like $1,000. You can also use some of the cheaper stuff as well, which is good. And there's a link here that actually provides a list of devices. So Valve Index, HTC Vive, Windows Mixed Reality, really? Oculus Rift, Oculus Quest with PC link cable. So Oculus Quest is actually very affordable. So people who can't afford something like Valve Index, with Quest, I think that's going to draw a lot of mainstream appeal. I think this is what a lot of people are going to go for, but I think Index has a lot of interesting functionalities with detecting finger movement that might really bolster the game's immersion. So, there's a wide variety of options, and that's good that they didn't make it exclusive to any one device. That's a big plus. And here is all the ways you can interact with the game. So there's the room setup, room scale if you have enough space, or you can do sitting or standing. So they provide all of the options possible. Movement-wise, you can do the teleport, you can do shift, which I guess sort of moves you in a smooth fashion from point A to point B, and then continuous, which is classic analog stick. Some people get sick and kind of queasy when they do the analog stick format, so there's other options for you there as well. But I love finger tracking for Valve Index, and then trigger-based. Finger tracking, I believe, is pretty much just for Index. But I love that they're considering as many people as possible, as many VR devices as possible with this game. And then back to the tweets. Let's see, Valve said, Half-Life Alyx is available for pre-purchase now on Steam, ships March 20th. Let's actually take a look at that page, see how much it costs. This costs, it's $60, so full price, but they're promising essentially a full-fledged Half-Life game. This isn't just like a 5-hour experience. I'm assuming it's going to be substantial. And it's discounted right now, 10% off, which is fantastic. I'm going to have to purchase this soon. Yeah, I'm just more excited than I thought I'd be about this game. It looks better than I thought it would. Let's talk about this article by news outlet The Verge. They managed to interview some people from the Half-Life Alyx team, and there's some interesting information here worth gleaning at. This question reads, is this a continuation of the events of Half-Life 2 Episode 2? Is this a full story on par with a major Half-Life title, or is it episodic? Good question. The response provided reads, Half-Life Alyx is set in the aftermath of the Combine invasion of Earth before the return of Gordon Freeman in Half-Life 2. While it does take place before the events of Half-Life 2, we actually recommend that you play through Half-Life 2 Episode 2 before you play Half-Life Alyx. Interesting. It looks like we're going to get some a good amount of information that's going to flesh things out before possibly they maybe delve into Half-Life 3. I feel like with the renaissance of Half-Life right now with Half-Life Alyx, that could act as a stepping stone towards Half-Life 3, and Alyx could fill in some blanks that are important for the Half-Life lore, and I feel like all of this indicates that. So, I'm really intrigued by that. And then this reads, for reasons that will become clear as you progress. Excellent. It's not a side story nor an episodic one, it's the next part of the Half-Life story in a game around the same length as Half-Life 2. How long is Half-Life 2? I forget. It's been a while. Let's look that up. Half-Life 2, how long to beat? It was substantial enough, right? So main story, 13 to 15 hours. So yeah, that's a pretty substantial campaign right there. So around that length for Half-Life Alyx. That's good to hear. And yeah, they're saying it is the next big Half-Life game. It isn't just some optional spin-off. You're going to get a lot of good story details, and it's going to feel like a fully fleshed out Half-Life title. That's a plus there. Does this mark a full return to the series? Should we expect more? The response provided reads, yes, it's probably no surprise that many people at Valve have been wanting to get back to the Half-Life universe for a long time, and this experience has only reinforced that. In the process of creating Half-Life Alyx, we have had to explore new ways to tell stories with these characters and this world, and we've discovered a lot of new gameplay experiences that go beyond what we have been able to do before. Of course, we'll have to wait and see how people react to Half-Life Alyx once it's out, but we'd love to continue pushing forward. Again, I feel like Half-Life Alyx acts as the stepping stone for Half-Life 3. I have a good feeling about Half-Life 3 being a possibility now that we're fully back into the Half-Life universe. Moving on, let's take a look at this press release that provides some additional details about the type of game that this is. So all this stuff right here is familiar information, but here is a bit more about the game. Half-Life Alyx was designed from the ground up for virtual reality and features all the hallmarks of a classic Half-Life game. World exploration, puzzle solving, visceral combat, and an intricately woven story that connects it all with the characters iconic to the Half-Life universe. And then this statement confirms that, quote, Half-Life Alyx is powered by Steam VR on Valve's Source 2 engine and can be played on Steam with all PC-based VR headsets. And then there are some screenshots here that highlight what is some really solid visual fidelity and really impressive for a VR title. Oh, and this right here is worth mentioning if you're a modder. According to The Verge, quote, also, Valve says the game, built on its new Source 2 engine, will provide a set of tools for anyone to build their own new levels for the game. And then here's a quote, Hammer, Valve's level authoring tool, has been updated with all of the game's virtual reality gameplay tools and components. So even after you finish the campaign, there's a whole lot of replayability with community contributions, and that's awesome. And you can see a glimpse of that tool right here. And then here we have an article from Kotaku that not only talked about all the things we have already talked about, but also summarized some of the things said in this Jeff Keighley interview with the Half-Life Alyx developers. And while a lot of the information there is more about the origins of Half-Life Alyx, an interesting bit of information worth noting here reads, according to this excerpt, quote, during the interview, Valve also confirmed that Valve veterans like Portal 2 writers Eric Wolpaw and Jay Pinkerton, both of whom departed Valve back in 2017, have been involved on Half-Life Alyx as well. And then Valve level designer Dario Casali said, it was really easy to recruit for this project, surprisingly enough. To see some of these people back definitely lifts my confidence in Half-Life Alyx's story and its ability to tell a substantial Half-Life story that not only will make fans happy, but will also really flesh out the world in a substantial way. So yeah, all around, I feel like so far we're seeing that this game might have the right ingredients to really bring to the forefront a AAA, fully fleshed out, sort of top-tier VR game, one that really a lot of gamers will be excited by, and that may prove that VR does have a place, that VR can be taken seriously. And not to say that there aren't other games out there like that right now, but I think it's safe to say that VR is certainly not as mainstream as it could be. And something like Half-Life, a brand new Half-Life game, a full-fledged Half-Life game coming to VR is definitely gonna be a big step forward for the VR platform, as long as they nail this game and its launch, and as long as people really love this game and the reception's really good and it sells a lot of copies, it might drive a lot of VR sales. So we'll see what happens on that front. And hopefully, again, as I previously mentioned, this can act as a stepping stone for Half-Life 3. I hope this means that people who do want a proper PC outing can get that after this game shipped, and after hopefully maybe this game has seen a lot of critical and commercial success. I'm wishing this game a whole lot of luck. I'm wishing it all the best. I hope it is everything we're hoping it will be, and I hope it's truly something special for the VR platform, because I am a VR enthusiast. I have nothing against VR. I've played VR and I love it. It's just I feel like VR just needs that big, major, irresistible title, and I think this could be it. And so this sort of revitalizes my excitement for the future of VR. And VR can coexist with other platforms as well. So there's that, and I just really want to see Half-Life 3, obviously. But if this can mull me over in the meantime, hey. And if this can be as good as it looks, hey, more power to Valve. So, fingers crossed. Anyway, that's my reaction, my overall take on what I'm seeing here. And look at the likes to dislikes ratio here. Pretty good. I thought this would be more divisive, but I think people looked at the trailer and agree that there's something here. There's potential here. So let me know in the comments below what your take is on the trailer, if you've seen it, or if you saw it with me. Whether you think this might be worth purchasing VR for if you don't have a VR device yet. Let me know just what you think about what this all means for the future of Half-Life. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.